Hey everyone, welcome to another Formula V track guide, this time at Lime Rock Park Grand Prix. This lap is the current world record for qualifying, and as per last week, I've left the driving line on for those of you that use it, so you have a reference. The track this week is quite simple, so this probably won't take as long as it did for Alton Park, but yeah, let's get into it. So turn one, main thing is just not using the brake pedal. Like we talked about last week, it's a case of not scrubbing speed off, especially around this track, because even more so than Alton, each corner leads onto a quite long straight or prolonged period of full throttle, so any speed that you can carry through the corner is really important. So all the way out to the left, open up the corner as much as possible, and you'll see as we go in, I don't actually use the brake pedal, just all the way off the throttle until they get the nose in, get that bit of rotation that we talked about before, and then already, just like we talked about last week, it's about using the throttle to adjust the rotation of the car through the corner. So you'll see as we play through the corner, sort of playing with the throttle up and down, just adjusting the line slightly. The amount of steering lock you've got through the whole corner should stay about the same. There'll be very minute adjustments as you go through, but mainly you're using the throttle to adjust the car. When I change down to third, as I've gone past the first apex, I do a bit of rev matching just so when it pulls into third gear, it doesn't snap the car sideways, it keeps it nice and stable. So a little bit of a blip on the downshift there. And then as you can see, as we go through the second phase of the corner, just waiting on the throttle, waiting at this point, picking it up, just so we get a nice big exit, and we're able to keep it flat. Make sure you run all the way out onto the exit curb here. Again, just that track usage, just maximising every kilometre an hour out of the car that's possible. Bring it back sort of middle of the road, maybe 2/3 of the way across. You don't need to come all the way out here, you're just making the track longer for yourself, so just get to middle of the road. And actually you want to stay quite tight the whole way through this corner. The racing line for this corner is actually pretty accurate, so leave a little bit of margin to the white line just to open up the left, but you don't want to be in the middle of the road because you're just making the track longer for yourself. Again, into this corner, no brakes, just playing with the throttle as we go through. See there, really busy on the pedal, and that's just playing with the rear end of the car. This corner you'll be a little bit busier on the steering because as you come off the throttle and turn in on quali, the car wants to sort of over rotate, so it's quite busy on the steering. But as long as you're not scrubbing speed and you're sort of playing with the throttle as you go through the corner to keep that minimum speed up, it gives you a good run out to this part. Make sure this right hand is flat out. This particular lap, I actually was a little bit further to the right than I wanted to be, so you'll see nibble a little bit of curb. As long as you don't get up onto this sort of second phase of the curb here, you see there's the initial part where it just rolls up smoothly. As long as you don't get up onto the flat part, this sort of lighter colour, the car will stay pretty stable, so you can actually nibble it and it doesn't cost you any speed. And you'll see that meant that I was able to stay flat out all the way to the exit line here, and didn't compromise me, even though it wasn't quite on the ideal trajectory that I wanted to be. So this is the most important corner on the track. It's the only corner you brake for, and it leads any speed you gain out here carries all the way to the start-finish line. So you can sort of lose a tenth or two through the first sector, but as long as you get this corner right, you're still going to be in with a chance of doing a 1 minute 3 as opposed to a 1 minute 4. So really important you come in at an angle. So you want to get out onto this exit curb, but if you brake in a dead straight line, you'll not be able to because you'll have to sort of turn left. So before you hit the brakes, you actually want to set yourself up to go onto this exit curb. So you want to just miss the grass. If you cut the grass, you'll snatch your front tyre and you won't be able to stop. So you'll see here, hard on the brakes, like we talked about, get the weight on the nose, down a gear, and all the way out. Could have used a little bit more track here, but it's not too important to get all the way over. You just want to make sure you're using more track than is available by staying in the white lines. Really important to get off the brakes early. So see at this point, just as we turn into the corner, just using the brakes to get that initial part of rotation, and then the moment the nose starts going in, I actually start playing with the throttle again. So give it a little blip, which sustains a bit of speed as we scrub through the corner, and also adjust the line. So I realised as I turned in, I'm going to just probably clip the little red curve, so we're just giving it that little tap of throttle. Instead of scrubbing speed on the brakes, you've put that speed back into the car, but you've adjusted your trajectory through the corner. And that means as we get to this point, You can see I'm just missing the curb on the inside. And you'll notice the whole way in, my steering again has stayed pretty consistent after we've done that initial turn in. It's a set amount of lock. We just hold it at that. Don't want to upset the car or anything. And you should already be full throttle before you get to this red curb, because it will gain you that extra couple of Ks all the way out here. This is the corner that makes the difference on your lap. So you'll see as we get to the red curb, already full throttle, and that will push the car wide, and you will have to sort of walk it round this middle curb. You'll see at this point we're going to have to turn left and get round it, but you can do that, and if you've carried a few Ks more here, this bit doesn't really scrub any speed. And you have all this track on the outside to actually do this little turn. So see, we do a little turn around here, and then already at this point it's just about not scrubbing speed on the way out. So we'll straighten the wheel up, run right against this red curb, make the track shorter, and then on the way out, run all the way out to this curb here. What I should have done really here is drive straight at the curb on the right and skim the white line, just make the track shorter, but at this point I'd already looked at the delta and seen that it was going to be the world record lap, so I was a bit distracted, wasn't really paying attention to all the stuff I'd normally do. So yeah, you could cut a bit more distance here, but it doesn't really make any difference. And then these last two corners, it's just about being really smooth with the steering and actually letting the car run out. You want to use all the track on the exits just so you're not scrubbing any speed, and that will get you maybe a hundredth or two to the line. But yeah, there's not really much to talk about through those last two corners. Just a case of staying flat out and not scrubbing any speed to the line. But yeah, that's a lap of the track. I'll after some requests, I'll put a full onboard up now after this. But if there's any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer them. Cheers.